So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first 2026 Fireside Chat. Our speaker today is a certified mindset, communication, and relationship coach. She is a dynamic public speaker and a bestseller author who is passionate about empowering individuals to find a voice and step confidently into their potential. Through her work with Global Kids Speak and as a co-founder of Voice Masters Global, Andrea has impacted children, youth, and adults around the world. She has helped them to build confidence, strengthen their communication skills, and share their stories on national and international stages. So, without any further ado, let's give a warm virtual welcome to one of our alumni, Andrea Adams.
Oh, wow. Happy New Year to all of you. Oh my goodness. I must first of all say thank you for saying yes and for allowing me to just share on this beautiful, wonderful platform. Right now, I'm doing one of the things that I love to do more than anything else, and that is public speaking. For those who may have known me, this is the last thing that you would expect of me because anyone that knew me many years ago would know I was so introvert, and the thought of public speaking would be like a absolute no, not me. No, you can't get me off the stages. Now, thank you so much, Desiree, for that wonderful welcome and that wonderful introduction. I'm going to take a moment to just share a little bit more about myself before we go into today's session. My main focus today is on the four levels of consciousness and how is it that we make our decisions based on our consciousness. Now, a little bit about me. I was born in the beautiful country, Guyana, and I grew up there. I spent maybe most of my time up until about 9 years old. I migrated to Barbados. Then I went back to Guyana. And what happened then, I was able to be part of a beautiful school. That is St. Rose's High, and the rest is history. So that's why I'm here now. Still the best school in Guyana for me. Now, I basically came into coaching. This is after I've been through quite a lot, that is, in terms of my life experiences. And it was not like a one time or one moment thing that I did. What happened? I was invited to be part of a what you would call a personal development program, and this was with Dr. Sonia Noel. For those of you who might know her from Guyana, I have a friend, Candace. She needed an accountability partner, and she said, Andrea, could you be my accountability partner? I said, well, yeah. The challenge was 7 days healthy thoughts. And I was like, yes. And I went on just to support her. But what happened when I was asked to introduce myself and to talk about healthy thoughts, and if I do have unhealthy thoughts, I was like, nope. I think good things. I don't cuss in my head. I think good things about people, blah, blah, blah. And to my surprise at that time, I learned afterwards that healthy thoughts was not about if you had good thoughts about someone or if you cuss in your mind or you wish bad for someone. Healthy thoughts had every single thing to do with your ability to think positively, and thinking positively not it's not only about good things about people, but what is the story about yourself that you're telling yourself. This is where most of us we fall because our thoughts, we're not aware of how we think. The thing is, everything in life is based on decisions. Where I was at that point in my life is based on the decisions that I made. Where you are right now is because of decisions that you would have made. I made decisions that brought me to this point right now. However, many of us, we go through life and we never really wonder what is the core, what is it that causes us to think the way that we think. We are not conscious of it. Some are not. Now, it started from me going to that program with Dr. Noel, and I realized that I thought so many negative thoughts, like things like I am not good enough. Sometimes we are not even aware, or certain things only happen to certain people. Those type of thoughts are all negative thoughts that really and truly do affect our body to a cellular level. That's why I am so happy. Not only that I was able to come here and share with you today, but this is your first session for the year. And I believe it's a really great way to have a fresh new start by changing the way that you think or thinking about how you think. Now, just going forward after that, I was able to really and truly shift a lot of things. After that session, I was able to join some other sessions with Dr. Noel. I eventually became an author, a co-author of one of her books, that is Women Across Borders, Soaring to New Heights. That was the first time that I really and truly opened up and told my story of abuse and trauma as a child. That was really a scary experience, but even in shifting the way that I think, I realized that I started to shift a lot of stuff in my life. Moving forward from there, I was able to get an opportunity to be trained by none other than the Les Brown himself. He's the one who taught me the skills in public speaking, and his program was called Power Voice. For me, one of the things that identified my life was going through not being able to speak up, being afraid of simple things like speaking to a boss or co-worker who maybe had a stronger personality than I did, etc. I would not speak up. And being able to gain my power voice is one of the things that helped me to be where I am right now, to shift the way that I think. I was able to go further, be able to co-author with Les Brown. And I'm talking in a matter of, this is from 2020 to 2025. So many significant things has happened and shifted in my life. And now, although I am not where I need to be, I am a work in progress. But the one thing I can identify is that there has been so much growth because of the way that I think. I have shifted the way that I think. I was able to work with Les Brown. I was able to co-author in a book with him. Then through the same Power Voice program, I met an amazing woman called Dr. Caroline Wilson, who has a movement called Her Story, story of healing, empowerment, and resilience. I was able to co-author with 24 beautiful ladies around the globe. It has since become a movement. She has Him Story now, and we are 90 plus and going, helping others to be able to tell their story, their experience, to be able to think, to be able to overcome those things that they have gone through that was negative in their life, to be able to impact others through their own experiences. I was able to work with Dr. Caroline and continue to do work with Les Brown. And through doing work with Les Brown, volunteering at his conference year before the last, I met three amazing ladies who were so hungry. They saw a gap where there were people who, there are lots of adults who are so afraid of public speaking. And they saw that gap, persons who were trained by Les Brown or persons who wrote their books, but they don't know what else to do after their books have been published. We came together and we formed Voice Masters. And one of the main functions of Voice Masters is to help adults to be able to find their voice, to tell their story through anthologies, through publishing their own books, through being able to be on stages and speak. Because when what we experience, what we need to understand is not only for ourselves, it helps a lot of other people when we're able to show that, hey, I've been through this, I've overcome this. And now I'm telling my story so that someone else who's on the journey, who may be feeling lonely, who may not know where to reach out to or who to reach out to, they can read that book in their own private space and see a change in their life, get some type of hope. So that's one of the main functions of voice masters, to be able to help you to develop your voice, to be able to find stages for you to speak on, and to create spaces for you to be able to speak on. And those are just a few of the things that I do. But one of the main things I want to share with you is me being able to find adornomy. I want you to say in your space right now, just say adornomy. And when you're saying that, what you're basically doing, it's an affirmation. Adorn me means I adorn me. What does this have to do with the levels of consciousness? You'll see. But I adorn me. So when you say adorn me, it's really an Italian word that means I adorn me. It's an affirmation. It's something that helps to reset you. Now, I know sometimes we say affirmations and we don't understand the meaning of it. Sometimes we don't even believe it, but I can tell you what happens when you think positively, what it does, it affects your body to a cellular level. How does it do that? When you think positively, serotonin is released into your body. And serotonin is that good thing that really and truly helps to shift your mood. So we don't really understand many times that the way we think affects our body to a cellular level. It affects our cells. Our cells remember. I don't know if any of you read the book, Your Body Keeps the Score. I can promise you the things you think, the experiences that you have, every single thing shifts your body. Stress, when you're stressed and you don't practice affirmations, you don't practice healthy thinking, guess what it does? It causes cortisol to release in your body, and that in itself destroy body cells, and it causes all sorts of negative things to happen to your body, like sicknesses, ulcers, all sorts of dis-ease. Because guess what is disease? Disease is just dis-ease, and this is caused by a lot of times by negative thinking and your thoughts, your ability to have self-control, etc. Everything boils back to your thoughts. Now, if our thoughts are so important and we cannot, everything that we experience in life is based on our thoughts and the decisions that we make. Why is it that we go to school and we go through life and more emphasis is not placed on thoughts and how it affects our life? Just want you to think about that. Why is it that we don't understand thoughts better? So, what I want you to do is, if, yes, okay, so what I want you to do basically is, if you haven't had your pens and your paper, I want you to grab that. Take a moment to grab your pens and your paper, because this is an extremely informative session and I will be asking you to do some reflection. What we're talking about today is the 4 levels of consciousness. And many of us, we don't understand the consciousness. Some of you may, some of you may not. Maybe you have not thought about it before, but consciousness is not just what you think. Consciousness is more like what you experience and the lens that you give to things, the lens you give to life, the way how you interpret events, the way how you interpret your life. How do you feel about your worth? How do you respond to your challenges? I want you to take a moment and just write this down. Write this question down. And at the end of this presentation, I want you to really and truly ask yourself, how do you feel? From what level of consciousness are you making your decisions? I want you to think about it, and you will listen, and you can ask questions if you want. You can place questions in the chat, or if you want to wait until after the presentation to ask me anything, feel free. But I want you to think about what level of consciousness that you're making your daily decisions from. Okay? Now let's continue by first of all saying an affirmation. Say, I am becoming aware of how I think, choose, and experience my life. I am becoming aware of how I think, choose, and experience my life. I am becoming aware of how I think, choose, and experience my life. So, again, if thoughts are so important, if thoughts are the thing that causes you to be able to shape your life the way that it's shaped, why is it that more study? Why is it that it's not a subject area on its own in schools from basic level going forward? I'll share something with you. Desiree said, I'm a certified coach. Yes, I am. And in order to meet that certification, I had to meet a minimum of 100 hours in practice. That meant that I had to call everybody and their uncle up and ask them to allow me to coach them over a matter of a few months. And when I started my coaching certification, as I told you when I started, I love public speaking. I was convinced that I just wanted to become a coach, an empowerment coach. I'm going to empower people because I learned this thing that positive thinking is great, blah, blah, blah. But what I found when I started to coach people, and I coached people of all ages, some were younger than I was, some was older than I was. And one of the things that I found that was common with everyone is that they were all connected to relationships. Where there's this wheel, where there's a circle, there's a balance, and I'm having a brain block, so I can't remember the exact name of it. But when you're coaching people, you look to see their professional life, their financial life, their relationships, etc. And the common thing in everything where there was a weakened part of the link was with relationships. And I said to myself, that is a core thing because everybody was having some type of an issue with a relationship, whether it was a bad experience with not having a father around or a mother around, or maybe it's a romantic relationship, but there was always some kind of issue. Maybe it's a workplace relationship. Some people were doing well on the financial realm, but they weren't doing well on the relationship realm. It was always the relationship was a common weaker factor. And that is one of the main reasons why I changed what my major would have been in it. And I said, hey, I want to be a relationship coach. Now, the other common factor I saw is that communication was the problem that caused a lot of deterioration in the relationships. And for me, I realized that there was a link. And just let me give you another backstory. I was able to work with, through working with Les Brown, I was able to be connected with a wonderful coach, John Tallarico. He is one of Bob Proctor's top 2% coach, meaning that he was one of Bob Proctor's elite coaches. And they did have a program. And after meeting that connection, I wanted to really and truly go through that program. And when I queried about it, it was a few $1,000s, like quite a few $1,000s to be part of the program. So based on my growth at that time, as I told you all, between 2020, just when the pandemic hit, to now, this is when all these things happen. I also learned about manifestations. And I actually deliberately practiced it. I kept saying, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am a student of the Bob Proctor Thinking to Resolve program. I kept saying it. And within a few months, one day, an announcement was made that they are giving away a scholarship. And I was like, hey, I signed up right away and I did everything that they said that they needed to be done to for me to get this scholarship, what I did. I call up everyone. I ask them to assist me in terms of being able to meet certain criterias. And the night just before they close out that scholarship, I was head on tied with one other person. And by some miracle, I just went past that line and I was able to win that scholarship. What I did, I was able to work with the Bob Proctor Institute through a 6 months intense training on thinking. And that's where the mindset coaching comes in. So that tied now with me doing my coaching certification and understanding that everything is tied together. It is said that the difference between an ordinary and an extraordinary life is the way that we think. And for me, I sometimes say, I am so sorry that I waited until I'm this age to learn all of these things because had I known these things as a young lady, I would have been doing much better than I'm doing now. I really would not have made some of the decisions that I made and the choices that I made. But I believe that everything happens in due time and for whatever reason it happens. And again, too, a lot of it is leading back to the way that we think. So I noticed that these three things were in common, that the way we think, the ability to communicate, and to have great relationships, they all tie into decision making. But how Adornomy came about is that we have to start with us. At the end of the day, we have to start with us. If we're able to develop a great relationship with ourselves, change the way we think about ourselves, allow ourselves to adorn us, adorn me, adorn yourself is to add to the wonderful person that you are already. How can you add to yourself and adorn you? You can do courses, you can improve your mindset, you can you can pray, meditate, but anything that you do to make you enhance you, make sure that you take care of your physical body, your health, etc. You are always adorning you. And this all comes back to now to the way that you think, the relationship that you have with you, which is the most important relationship. So how or what does this have to do with the four levels of consciousness? I'm getting there. I'm really getting there. I just needed you to get that foundation so that you can really and truly understand to a deep level what is it that we're talking about. What I'm about to share with you, when you know, you will say, now you know. Because once you know, you can't unknow it. So, coming back to consciousness, first of all, we have to really and truly understand the way that we think. And the way that you think determines the results that you get. Now, in terms of understanding how you think, we have to think of the mind. And many times when we think of the mind, you ask anyone about the mind, they go, well, where's your mind? And they point here because they think that your mind is the brain. But your brain is actually not your mind. What your brain is, it's a body organ, part of the body organ. It's like your heart, your lungs, it's an organ. However, your mind is different. Your mind is consciousness. Our mind, it operates at two different forms. We have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. Always think of the conscious mind as the male. Think of the subconscious mind as the female. And not just any female, but she's like the Proverbs 31 woman. This subconscious mind, whatever you embed upon it, it actually will serve you. So if you tell your subconscious mind, I know many of you might have heard this statement, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. And I can guarantee you, you're absolutely right because that's how your subconscious mind works. Whatever you embed upon it, that's what it believes. Subconscious mind is not biased. So that's why it's important that we guard our words. Sometimes we say things like, oh, that's not for people like me, or I would never experience that. something, something great someone else is experiencing, we actually lay that on our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind, guess what, it works every day to ensure that you don't experience it. And that's how powerful our minds are. Now, the subconscious mind, it does not have a bias. Whatever you place on it, it does. If you tell your subconscious mind you're capable of, it does it. It doesn't ask a question. That's why when we go into a state of prayer or meditation, that's why we're able to get things, because we go into a different state, a different realm when we meditate and we pray. And that's when our subconscious mind works. Now, I can tell you, your body works and functions through the subconscious mind. Imagine if I had to consciously remember to make sure that my heart beat, or consciously remember to make sure that cells in my body are healed or anything like that. We don't have to do that. That's a function of the subconscious mind. It makes sure that everything is in place. Now, our conscious mind is basically what we're talking about today, our consciousness. Our consciousness works as a guard, because the subconscious mind, if you tell the subconscious mind, I can walk on fire, it will attempt to have you walk on fire and to find a way to make it possible. Your conscious mind, however, is the guard. It says, no. So that's where we find ourselves in paradigms or in boxes, because our conscious mind is there for a purpose and it's great, but it can sometimes put us in boxes. Our conscious mind is the thing that tells us, hey, we were born in this area, so this is what we can only get. We were born in the ghetto, so this is what we expect of our life. Or we were born in the heights, so this is what we expect of our life. Whereas if you tell the subconscious mind, hey, I can have $1 million tomorrow, it will be finding a way to try to make that happen. Not consciously, but it will be doing, you find out, well, how come I thought about doing this or looking up this or doing that? That's where the subconscious mind comes in. The conscious mind, however, works by paradigms. And what is a paradigm? Paradigms are those things, those beliefs that we have been given from the moment of conception. Communication again. From the moment of conception, we would have been receiving paradigms as it relates to genes, because we will look like a lot like our family, act a lot like our family does. Now, the other paradigms is like where you're born. Were you born in the ghetto? Were you born in the heights? Those are all things that determine the way that you think, the things that you believe. Paradigms would be your religious beliefs, your political beliefs. Those are all things that places you in boxes. That's why it's important that we keep stepping out. Every time we realize that we are hold or held by a belief, we need to step out of those realms or out of those paradigms, because you could never know the label of the box by being in the box. You have to step out. So a paradigm is like a box. That's why Les Brown says many of us, we die at age 21 and we're buried at age 80, because we have been given so many paradigms consciously from the time of birth that we limit ourselves. We're so afraid to do things because if I do this thing, this might happen. Paradigms. Or one of the things that I say a lot, I can remember growing up, if I go to a funeral and we go home, my grandmother would not allow me to walk through that door facing forward. I have to step back into the door. That's a belief. That's a paradigm. I could have chosen to continue to believe that something will happen, or I can choose to break down that box and say, hey, question the belief, question the paradigm. So no, that's no longer a paradigm for me, because I understand that that is crazy. But my thing is, in your consciousness, what is it that you will get rid of? What is it that you're going to overcome? What paradigms are holding you today that you need to get rid of in order to become, well, I wouldn't say become, in order to decide the next level that you're going to be in. So, when it comes to consciousness, we have different levels of consciousness. And I want you to write down level one. And in level one, this is what we call victim consciousness. Now, we all operate and make decisions based on different types of consciousness. So, victim consciousness is basically where we are going through life, seeing it as if life is happening to me. In terms of this consciousness, there are people who born and they die and they never get out of this level. This is where I'm like, okay, life has been so unfair to me. Everything that happens to me. It's not my fault. It's like somebody else's fault. Everything, every single decision that we made and every single outcome that has been made because of this decision, we have blamed someone else. We think as if we are plastic bags in the wind, and whatever happens to us just happens to us. And this is what you call victim consciousness or level one. This is where we feel powerless. This is where we make decisions from fear. And instead of choosing, we really react to what life brings to us. Now, most people operate from this stage. Like you'll be so surprised to see the amount of people that actually operate from a state where they believe that things are just happening to them and there's absolutely nothing that they can do about it. They do not make decisions to do stuff. They have an alibi for every solution. If it's not the government, something to do with the government, something that's happening in with nature, something that's happening maybe with church or a husband or a wife or a child or something. It's always some other reason why they're unable to move from the area that they're in to a higher level. So what I want you to do in your notes right now is just write down these questions. So ask yourself, where or in what areas of my life do I feel most powerless? What areas of your life do you feel most powerless? And one of the things that I can tell you, even if you move to different levels, there are times that we can shift from one level to the other. And I can tell you personally, I've operated in victim consciousness for many years, not even knowing, not even conscious of me that there were different levels of consciousness. Think about it. Many people don't even know that there are different levels of consciousness. There are different levels to which we make our decisions. Think about what phrases you say when you are in victim consciousness. In victim consciousness, many times we go like, oh, this is not for me. I can't do this. I could never own that house. I could never go on that trip. Victim consciousness is where we say, oh, our bank account cannot meet something that we want. So I just want you to think about it. And I hope that you're taking the notes and you're writing it down and really, really thinking about it. Think about who you're giving away your power to right now through your decisions. Because when you're living life through a state of victim consciousness, only thing that comes out from it is resentment. Because if you're making all your decisions or allowing someone else to make all your decisions for you, you will only in the end begin to resent them. Because we would not be living a life what's considered an optimum life. Now, before I reveal to you what is, we're at 136, I'm mindful of the time. Before I release to you what is level 2 to 4, I want you to just say this affirmation. I release the belief that life happens to me. I release the belief that life happens to me. I reclaim my power to choose. And reclaim your power. I had to reclaim my voice, my power voice. Now at level 2, life happens by me. And this is where you start to realize, wait a minute. I'm actually in control of my own life. I'm here because I made a decision. Here's where we realize that our thoughts, our actions, and everything shapes our outcomes. Now, we were talking about the brain. And I told you, a lot of people say when you ask about thought, your mind, people go here. But guess what our mind is? Our mind is actually energy. Our mind is actually what you consider the captain of the ship. The ship is our body. And what is our brain then? Our brain is what you call the hem of the ship. It's the thing that steers your life. Your mind sends signal to the brain, and the brain then does what it's supposed to do. The brain is the thing that shapes us. The mind is actually energy. And this might be a secret or it might not, but it's not just any energy. We've thought about, we can think about lightning, or we can think about if you take a knife and put it in the socket, you'll probably be fried. But if you can think about this, our thoughts, they say, is the most potent form of energy. If our thoughts are the most potent form of energy, can you imagine all the different forms of energy out there and our thoughts being the most potent? Just think about it. If you haven't thought about it before, how powerful you are of a being. You are so powerful. You are so powerful that you hold within you the most, not a, the is definitive, the most potent form of energy. And the thing about energy, it cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed. So it's forever being transferred. Not only is your thoughts the most potent form of energy, but this is at level two. You are a center. I am a center of divine creation. We were made to continuously create. We're creating even by being here. This is a choice, a decision you made. You created this moment. You decided, you made a decision. What am I going to wear? What time am I going to sign in? And it's so important to understand this because every single nanosecond you're making choices that shape your life. And when you operate by this in consciousness, you're operating at level two, which is life is happening by me. I'm manifesting. This is what I want. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am a part of the Bob Proctor Thinking into Results program. I've manifested it. I started creating, I took action, I closed the knowing doing gap because that's a whole different day. I can talk about the knowing doing gap. What we know, what we do. It's two different things. Many of us know a lot of stuff, but we don't do. That's why there's some people that are highly qualified and they can't make money. And there's some people who are not qualified and they can't make money because there's a difference. What you know and what you do, it's a big difference. So I want you to start thinking, which level are you operating at? Are you at level one? Are you by victim consciousness or are you through manifestor consciousness? Manifestor consciousness is where you decide that you're going to make a shift. And it's a great place to be. But I implore that you don't remain there because when you start to realize the power that you hold, that you are a center of divine creation, that you possess the most potent form of energy, ego can start to build up. And at this state, you're not living in purpose. You're living more by, hey, I got this and I can do what I want because I understand. At level two is where you start to take responsibility of your life, where you don't blame others for circumstances because you understand that you can visualize it. You can do it. Now we're going to talk about, before we go into level three, just let's say a quick affirmation. I am a powerful creator. My choices shape my future. I am a powerful creator. My choices shape my future. Now, continue to take notes. We're at level 3, and I know we're upon the hour. I probably have like 5 minutes, but I'm going to wrap it up. Now, level 3, and this is where life is happening through me or through you. This is where we stop living, not we're no longer a victim, but we're not living for ourselves. This is where we start to deal with purpose. And I can remember when I was doing the coaching, there's so many people who live through life and they're like, oh, but I've never thought about my purpose. Level 3 is living life through me. It's like purpose consciousness, where we're not just doing things. Many of us here, we're serving. We're part of the alumni. This is part of purpose, purpose consciousness. We're not doing something. Anything in purpose is not for us. Purpose is for others. And at this level, this is where decisions are guided more by contribution and not just comfort. This is where we start teaching others and we stop living for ourselves, but we begin to more or less live life for meaning. Questions you might ask yourself when you're at this level is, who could benefit from my life experience? Remember, we were talking about that earlier. When you tell your story and you write and you speak about your experiences, who can benefit from your life experience? Sometimes you save someone 15 years of hardship by sharing your story. How can my voice and my wisdom serve others? This is where we start living in purpose. And this is at level 3 of consciousness, where life is through me. It's not just by me. Of course, we still have to continue to create and make our decisions, but our decisions are deliberately geared through purpose, purpose consciousness, living on level 3. Before we go to level 4, let's just say a quick affirmation. My life has purpose. I'm here to contribute. My life has purpose. I'm here to contribute. Now, at level 4, we see life as happening as me. Say as me. Type in the chat as me. And this is where I want to be, where I can be at a space where life is happening as me. This is called unity consciousness. This is where we're able to just, in moments like these, when we come to things like this, or we're talking to someone, we're able to experience the moment. We're able to experience peace, compassion, where we live in the now. We can sit down at dinner. We don't have to be on our phones. We can experience, we take in the moment as it is. Where we allow, where whenever we make decisions from a state of love rather than fear. Where we understand that we're all connected, we're all one. I can remember I was on a live one time and I said to someone, it's like, we're all connected, we're all one. The person said no, because some people are not organic, some people are, etc. But I still hold strong to the belief that we're all one. And reason being, we may have different forms, different looks, etc. But at the end of the day, if we look at it down to a cellular thing, we all are made up of atom molecules. We're all connected to the universal system, the trees, the plants, the universe. We're all connected. And whatever choice you make, however you're able to create, whatever you create, you're affecting others. How would my choices change if I live from love rather than fear? That's when we are at unity consciousness, where we live with compassion and peace, and we understand we're connected to all life. That's where you see life as you. You operate from that realm. And these 4 levels is where we all base our decisions on. That's how we're able to create. I want you to say this affirmation. Say, I am connected to all life. I live with compassion and peace. I am connected to all life. I live with compassion and peace. Now, I want you to ask yourself again, from what level of consciousness are you making your daily decisions? The truth is, we move from one to the other. We tend to move around, and I'm going to wrap up no later than 1:50. But we tend to move around from place to place, and our decisions are actually based on that consciousness. I can go on, I can expand more on every single thing I spoke about. Well, what I would encourage you guys to do, I do have a book. It's not published as yet, it's in the rough draft on the four levels of consciousness. It's called actually the four identity shifts. And it helps you to learn more about this concept. And it helps you to understand more about the way and why we make decisions. Your conscious, your subconscious mind. Why is it we think the way that we think? If every single thing in our life, and I'm talking down to our health, if you don't believe me, read a book called Who Switched Off My Brain by Dr. Caroline Leaf. She went into such details upon how our thoughts affect our body. Our thoughts is what causes disease. When we become depressed, we become depressed because of our thoughts. I went through depression because of my thoughts. I chose to think negatively. I did not feel self-love. I didn't want to be here because I thought negatively. I did not adorn me. Every single thing that you're experiencing now is because of your thoughts. Again, if your thoughts are so important, why is it we don't spend more time learning more about it, learning about why we make the decisions that we make? The good thing about this talk is that when you learn it, as it says, now you know. You can't unlearn it because it's there. Even if you want to not think about it and not have that big responsibility, it's just there now. You can't get rid of it. So now you have that responsibility just to do better because you know better. That's a responsibility that I have. And now that responsibility has been passed on to you. Part of being conscious is understanding that you are responsible for you. Every decision, even if somebody influences your decision, it's still your decision. My kids and I, we have that talk a lot about who's responsible, who's responsible for. It's a responsible for and responsible to. And when responsibility is shifted, we're all responsible for ourselves. So if you've been given that big task to make decisions to shape your life, why not understand it? Now, if you have any questions at all, now would be a good time for us to open up the mic. If you do have any questions that I can answer. Also, I do daily meditations for those of you who are on TikTok every morning at 6:30 a.m. I go into a lot of mind work concerning thinking. I also do meditations, which helps to reset your body. Remember to practice mindfulness, being aware of your now, enjoying your now, because that's part of the beauty. Understanding the way you think determines your health. Remembering that self control is strength, right thought is mastery, calmness is power. These are all things that come through understanding the way that you think. So, Desiree, I pass it
Okay.
over back to you.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for that very powerful presentation. Before we wrap it up, does anyone have any questions for Andrea? You can unmute yourself and just ask her a question or two if you do have any. Okay, hearing none.
there's a
Oh,
question for
oh,
the
there
name.
is.
Yeah, the name of the book
Oh, Andrea, what is the name of your book?
that's
The
coming up.
4 levels of identity shift. What I will encourage you guys to do, if you can, go to adornomy.com and subscribe to the website, and I will send you the draft copy of it.
Okay. Okay, so that wraps it up. Thank you very much, Andrea, for that very powerful discussion. Now I have to be very mindful of the way I'm making my decisions, what level of consciousness I'm making those decisions based on. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Our next presentation will be held in March, so stay tuned and have a wonderful day the rest of the day. And thank you again for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Andrea, very much. Yeah.